Chris was always searching for peace. Not just peace of mind, but peace in life. He had been through difficult relationships, wrestled with self-doubt, and constantly tried to fix himself, thinking that if he just solved all his personal issues, everything would finally feel right. He tried everything: self-help books, therapy, meditation retreats, journaling, all in the hope that something would cure the uneasy feeling inside. He believed that one day he'd find the key that unlocked a life without stress, without anxiety, without moments of frustration. But no matter what he did, life kept throwing challenges at him. One day, after an emotional argument with his partner, Chris sat alone in his car. His hands gripped the steering wheel, his chest tight with frustration. He had thought that after months of working on himself, he'd have better control over his emotions. But here he was, spiraling into the same old patterns. He felt like he had failed, like he should have figured it out by now. And that's when it hit him. Maybe life isn't about fixing every part of ourselves. Maybe life is meant to be managed, not cured. This realization didn't come with any fireworks or a sudden wave of calm, but something inside him shifted. He began to understand that he wasn't broken, he was just human. He wasn't going to reach some magical point where he no longer felt anxiety or frustration. Life was going to keep happening, and the key wasn't to get rid of those moments, but to learn how to navigate through them. Life is managed, not cured. Many of us are like Chris, aren't we? We believe that if we just work hard enough, we'll reach a version of life where everything feels perfect. We think if we heal our traumas, fix our insecurities, and get everything right, we'll finally find peace. But life doesn't work like that. No matter how much personal growth you achieve, there will always be new challenges. You will still have moments of doubt, anxiety, and frustration. The trick isn't to avoid them. The trick is to manage them. When you expect life to be cured, you create impossible standards for yourself. You start believing that any negative emotion or difficult situation is a sign of failure. You think that if you still feel anxious sometimes, you must not be doing enough. But the reality is, those emotions are part of the human experience. They don't go away. They change, they evolve, but they don't disappear. Once Chris let go of the idea that he needed to fix everything about himself, he started to focus on managing his day-to-day emotional experience. He began to understand that life is about balancing the good with the bad, the calm with the chaotic. Let me explain it from a different angle. When you believe life can be cured, every personal setback becomes something you think you should have avoided. If you have a bad day, if you feel overwhelmed or sad, you start thinking you've regressed. But when you accept that life is to be managed, you realize those bad days are part of the process. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to learn to move through the challenges, not around them. Take relationships, for example. No matter how much personal development you do, you'll still have conflicts. You'll still have disagreements and misunderstandings. Chris used to think that a perfect relationship meant no arguments, no emotional tension. But after his realization, he understood that a healthy relationship is one where you manage those conflicts better. You don't avoid them, you face them with more patience and empathy, accepting that both you and your partner are still learning. Chris started doing something new after that night in the car. He didn't try to get rid of his emotional reactions. Instead, he worked on managing them. When he felt anxious, instead of spiraling or thinking he was failing, he started practicing breathing exercises to center himself. When he had an argument with his partner, he didn't retreat into silence. He opened up, acknowledging that they both needed to manage their emotions, not suppress them. This shift from trying to cure his emotional life to learning to manage it transformed how Chris experienced everyday challenges. He realized that personal growth isn't about eliminating struggles. It's about learning how to deal with them better. Here's what you can take away from Chris's story. Life will always bring challenges, but you can manage those moments rather than trying to escape them. Let's break it down with a few actionable steps. Step 1. Embrace emotional flexibility. Stop seeing your emotions as something that needs to be fixed or erased. If you feel anxious, if you feel sad, don't fight those feelings. Acknowledge them. And ask yourself, how can I manage this right now? It might be through talking it out, journaling, or simply allowing yourself to feel without judgment. Emotions aren't meant to be cured. They're signals that help you understand what's happening inside. Step 2. Set realistic expectations for personal growth. Personal growth doesn't mean reaching a point where you never feel insecure or stressed. It means recognizing when those feelings come up and knowing how to handle them better than you did before. Progress looks like having fewer emotional blow-ups, bouncing back faster from setbacks, or responding to criticism with less defensiveness. Set small, realistic goals and celebrate that progress. Step 3. Build tools for managing stress and anxiety. You're never going to live a life free of stress or anxiety, but you can build habits that help you manage them. Maybe it's practicing mindfulness in the morning or finding moments of stillness during the day. Maybe it's something as simple as stretching or breathing exercises when tension hits. These small habits don't eliminate stress, but they teach you how to navigate through it. Step 4. Accept imperfection in relationships. In personal development, relationships are often the area where we notice our triggers the most. You might think that working on yourself means your relationship should be smooth and perfect, but relationships are about managing conflict, not avoiding it. The next time you feel tension with a loved one, instead of blaming yourself or them, ask, how can we manage this together? It's not about perfection. It's about growth through connection. Step 5. Stop trying to fix yourself. There's a difference between growth and self-fixing. You're not broken. You're evolving. Personal growth is about managing the highs and lows, becoming more aware of your reactions, and being kinder to yourself. You don't need to be perfect to be at peace. You just need to learn how to manage the parts of life that challenge you. Chris didn't fix his life after that night in the car. His anxiety didn't vanish and his relationships didn't become magically easy. But he started to manage those things better. He learned that real growth isn't about erasing the tough moments, it's about learning how to face them with more patience and self-compassion. So, here's your call to action. Stop chasing the perfect version of yourself. Instead, focus on managing what's in front of you. Build your resilience with daily habits, give yourself grace when things don't go as planned, and recognize that managing life is a process, not a destination. You're not broken. And you don't need to be cured. You just need to learn to manage the journey with a little more understanding and self-love.